So, right behind me you can see a Greek tavern, which is basically a traditional Greek restaurant. And if you walk just 50 meters that way, right over there, it's the border. We have our passports ready, and we're gonna use this to just cross the border into North Cyprus and visit the other part of the wall, a mosque, and a bunch of stuff.
The Chikoftes shop.
Food to eat. You can go to. Some people go there for a restaurant to buy cigarettes.
Although it's
Party.
very little, there's also a church there and a bunch of historical places. So it's very interesting. It tells you a lot about Nicosia's history.
I think it's a great thing that although there are some political differences, quite a lot, we're not gonna dive too deep into that because we're not from here and we don't know the entire situation. We're just gonna report on what we see. And from a touristic point of view, I think it's awesome that you get to explore basically two cultures in one place, which is simply unique, I think, on the entire planet.
That is very interesting. But don't forget about the fact that this is a place that really isn't recognized by almost all of the world. So you're basically in a place that doesn't officially exist.
Yeah.
That's interesting, at least.
Yeah.
Let's call it that.
So welcome back to my channel, and thank you for following along our journey. Today we're gonna explore a place that does not exist, North Cyprus.
And although it doesn't exist, I had the best chikofte I've ever had right there. It's a bit of a walk, but worth it.
It was worth it. The rain was worth it too. Another wonderful thing to do here in Cyprus is to visit the capital city, which is Nicosia, which is the last divided capital of the world between Cyprus and the legally occupied North Cyprus. Really interesting how you can just walk around the streets of the old town, the center of the city. It's a pedestrian streets full of restaurants and shops, as most capitals and big cities have. And then at some point you reach this border checkpoint where it's a pedestrian one, and you just hand in your passport and the custom office just checks it as they do in any airport or land border, and you just continue walking, and then you're in North Cyprus, and it's just another pedestrian street with shops and restaurants, but all of a sudden everything is in Turkish lira priced. Well, right close to the border, like meters away, they still have some euro prices, and they're quite high compared to the other areas of the neighborhood of Nicosia, of northern Cyprus. But it's quite interesting how everything changes just a few meters away. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna explore the city, the center, maybe we'll cross the border, show you how the border looks like, and everything around us. So let's explore this very unique capital city in Europe.
Venetian gates, much like Venetian blinds, very straight.
So from Eddie's research, apparently these Venetian walls were built during the Venetian Empire. At some point the Venetians were ruling these seas, the Mediterranean Sea, and they came here probably to perform some sort of trade routes. And for defense purposes they built it. Yeah.
So I just looked it up just to make sure. So they were built by the Venetians, but they kind of got torn down. And so back in the 16th century, I think the Ottomans, they completely rebuilt them. But the Venetians were the ones who actually made this into like a fortification, because I guess they were doing trades and stuff, and this was a major trading post.
Yeah, but this is not by the sea.
Yeah, but I think it was always something. I'm not sure, but I think it was always like not the capital, but like an important administrative place
Point.
here. So yeah, it isn't by the sea.
Either way, the walls right now look quite good. They're in quite good shape, but I think they were recently rebuilt.
Look, it says completely Wikipedia that like Valletta and Palmanova in Italy, it was considered what they called an ideal city in the Renaissance because of how it was built and the fact that it had like fortifications around an urban center. So this was, you know, when you're playing your games on a computer and you're making like your perfect city, back in like the Middle Ages, this Valletta and a few cities in Italy, this would have been like the perfect.
So here we are in the square called Eleftheria Square, which means what? What does Eleftheria mean?
I think it means free person, free man.
Okay.
'Cause I have a
Free person,
friend-
to be politically correct nowadays. And this is where the new town is on one part, and on the other part is the old town. So basically this is where the walls are, the ruins are, and they built this very modern passage over the ruins, you know, just to symbolize the modern age with the old age. You know, they're really putting an emphasis on this modern thing that has been imported here on the island. And it's really interesting. My favorites are the benches. They look like surfboards. I think that's because they don't have the sea here.
Diamond Hoe. I know a lot of diamond hoes in Romania.
So aside from the settlements of the older empires that have been here, basically a lot of people are drawn by what I said to be the border, the pedestrian border between the divided city. Now, to get to the border, you just have to find the most famous pedestrian shopping street, the Letra Street. You cannot miss it. It's like right in the middle of the old city. I'm gonna show you right now. And you just walk and walk and walk till you get the custom office, the border office. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. We're gonna walk. Just takes from here maybe 10 minutes or less. It's like, it's not a big city. Well, not the old part of it is not a big city. Then we're gonna cross the border. It's a super simple process. It takes like 1 minute. Just show your passport. You get checked and then you just go. Yeah.
But it's really interesting, although it's super calm and nice and fun. It's really interesting. I've never been in a city that's divided, except for Berlin, which isn't divided anymore. And it's very interesting that you're going, if you think about it, into a country that's only recognized by one other country. And their passport, actually, if they get their passport, is only recognized by like 5 or 6 countries. So you're actually in a part of the world that most of the world doesn't think it exists. So that's quite interesting if you put it into perspective.
But more on that once we get there. So in about 10 minutes from now. So on the famous Ledra Street, you will find coffee shops, famous chain shops like Guess and H&M, McDonald's, Flying Tiger, like everything is here. Of course, some orange trees, this probably very famous cover thing on top of the street, decoration, and a lot of people. Basically, all the tourists that end up in Nicosia are here on this street. So, yeah, as any touristic area, just make sure you pick the right places because they're a bit more pricey than other places, I would say. But nevertheless, really nice if you are looking for a shopping area in Nicosia.
I think all the halloumi I had for breakfast is kind of it's gaining up on me. Too much halloumi.
There's never too much halloumi in Cyprus.
Yeah, it's just like it's really, thick. I don't know how to call it, dense.
So this is the old town in Cyprus, Nicosia, and this is under Turkish occupation since 1974. This is the border, and we are right here. And yeah. So right behind me you can see a Greek tavern, which is basically a traditional Greek restaurant. And if you walk just 50 meters that way, right over there, it's the border. As I said, a pedestrian border. So we have our passports ready, let me show you our passports. We have our passports ready, and we're gonna use this to just cross the border into North Cyprus and visit the other part of the wall, a mosque. And what else is there to visit? A bunch of stuff.
The Chikofta's shop.
Food to eat. You can go to. Some people go there for a restaurant to buy cigarettes.
Although it's
Party.
very little, there's also a church there and a bunch of historical places. So it's very interesting. It tells you a lot about Nicosia's history.
Yeah. So people, tourists, just see it as a whole city, like any other city. You just need to have your passport with you if you want to walk here. But I think it's a great thing that although there are some political differences, quite a lot, we're not gonna dive too deep into that because we're not from here and we don't know. So it was that easy. You just show your passport twice. What I really find interesting is that you get to visit a city, but two cultures.
And 3 flags. If you actually film behind it, it's Greece.
And 3 flags.
North of Cyprus, and it's Turkey.
Yes.
Strangely enough, the Republic of Cyprus's flag is missing. So this is, I think, what they call a Han or a caravanserai. I think we might have one of those too. And it's from the 16th century, and they used to keep goods here, and merchants used to sell them. This is very cool and one of the best, kept places like this in, I think, all of the world. And it's right next to the border. You should visit it. It's called Büyük Han.
And you can buy.
And you can buy a lot of stuff and actually sit down for coffee or beer.
Oh, you can walk around the Han? The inn, actually, we shall call it. Did you know that Romanian language has a lot of borrowed words from Turkish? One of them is Han, which effectively means an inn, a place where people used to, sleep over. Place for merchants. Anyhow, this is one of those places.
I know another one.
Yeah.
Rahat.
And yes, we shall continue with the educational language content some other time. This place is, I think, full of souvenir shops, crafts during high season, touristic high season. But right now, there are a couple of shops, not that many. Prices are in euros, or Eddie just bought some small souvenir paying in euros, so I don't know.
I got something really cool. You want to see?
Yeah, and there are also a couple of cafes, but I think just 1 or 2 are open. The other ones are closed. Yes, show us.
I got a really nice bookmark for my mom.
Yeah.
I only paid €1 too.
And next, there is another thing that you can visit here in north side of Nicosia, which is a mosque. So in the Muslim culture, mosques are considered sacred places. They're a place for prayer, and that's why they don't really advertise them as museums, although most of them can be visited in Turkey, and they're free to visit outside of the praying schedule. So when people are praying, it would be respectful and polite not to interfere, but otherwise you can visit them. I've been to Istanbul, and just as long as you're respectful, you are allowed to go in. It's free of charge. Now, let's try and see if we can visit this mosque here, which is one of the attractions, and from what we researched online, it looks kind of cool, and hopefully we'll get to see it today. So from what I gather, North Cyprus is a country of its own. Here you can see the white one is the flag of North Cyprus, and here's the flag of Turkey. So basically they're Turkish, but they cannot be part of Turkey because I think that would start a war in this area, and they don't want that. They're rather peaceful, really peaceful people. That's why they made it so easy in the past few years to just cross the border from either place. But yeah, it's basically a country of its own, that not a lot of other countries recognize. So without me knowing, we visited two countries, Cyprus and North Cyprus, with this 3-day trip on the island of Cyprus. I'm not even sure exactly if I can say country of Cyprus anymore, because there are two, but one is not really recognized, and South Cyprus, the one and only Cyprus, claims that this land is illegally occupied. What's the truth here? Well, that's for you to uncover when you come here or dive deep into the history of this place. But according to Cyprus, this land has been illegally occupied since the 70s. Luckily, they came to this agreement and people are peaceful. Everything is super safe. You can walk around, I can film, I can take pictures, and nobody's like harassing me, like no weird business happening. So I give you that. That's pretty cool. But it reminds me a lot of Turkey. So on this tour of visiting North Nicosia, as I promised you, you can visit the mosque. The mosque is currently under restoration and cannot be visited. It is basically surrounded by this fence.
Called Selimiye Kami.
Selimiye Kami, the Selimiye Mosque. It's quite big, but it's closed. There are actually a bunch of buildings, old buildings that really illustrate the Turkish architecture, which I find really interesting. Unfortunately, some of them are not really renovated. Their structures are kind of demolished, but it's really nice.
It has potential.
It has a lot of touristic potential. And we still have another place that we potentially could visit, but I don't know if it's open today. It's a traditional house, or it's a house. Let's see. It's a museum. So this is the eaved house, which basically is a traditional house. The eaved name comes from the fact that the roof is somehow really close to the walls. Might be wrong on this one. It's actually a museum, but today is Sunday and it's closed. Unfortunately, a lot of museums here are closed on Sunday, on Monday, and right now the big mosque is under renovation and not open. Fortunately, there's so much I can show you right now, but it's always free to walk around, and there are plenty of examples of beautiful Turkish architecture, which I find really interesting, and that's really cool. No matter when you come, in summer it might be really warm, but right now in winter I think it's great for a walk to discover this lovely culture. And also most restaurants are open, and that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna find a nice restaurant to eat some Turkish food, which is one of my favorite. I cannot wait to eat lentil soup. There's no other place in the world where you can enjoy lentil soup like Turkey or North Cyprus. I had no idea till today, but here we are.
Now I'm gonna have a nice cold Turkish beer.
Living of cost here in North Cyprus.
It's a bit cheaper, I think, than in the rest of Cyprus. And I heard that if you buy a new car, it could be like a new Volkswagen could be like 10,000 euros cheaper than you'd get it in most European countries. So think about that, but also think about the fact that it has the steering wheel on the right. So.
found a really nice restaurant where we could eat some traditional Turkish food. And I got myself a çorba, which is lentil soup. Basically, you can find it in any traditional Turkish restaurant. And here is like half of the price that you can find it in the restaurant by the border. So you just need to walk like 10-15 minutes and then you find like real restaurants. The one at the border are kind of touristic for my taste. And this is warm, fresh bread. We ordered also some tea, Turkish tea, famous chai, the black tea. And Eddie's having Efes. The bread is warm. The soup is super good. A little bit spicy for my taste, but good. And this bowl is huge. It's perfect. This looks amazing.
And it goes really good with beer, so you know. Cheese pizza, Turkish cheese pizza, and beer.
Turkish beer.
Yeah, what could you want more for a diet?
Perfect diet.
Yes.
If you want to get fat.
Yes.
Gusht? Gusht? Come on.
Kam firminte tako śmieszne. Hej, kończę. Super good. Gotta wash it down. Yeah, it's very good.
It started raining, so after lunch apparently you need the rain to cleanse yourself. Anyway, the entire thing that we ate was 260 Turkish lira, which in January 2023 it's about 13 euros from what I gather. I think, I don't know, we don't have internet connection right here where we are because we're in North Street. Eddie was under the impression that here some of the things that they sell, electronics or other stuff, are cheaper. And they might be because they have a bunch of electronic shops. But we just went inside one of them and asked about the price. And apparently the prices here are the same as in any other place. So iPhone 14 Pro, a new version of iPhone, is $1,700, which is basically the same price as it would be basically anywhere else in Europe. But there still might be a chance to find cheaper stuff. But you have to go someplace else, not here in Nicosia. You might have to go to a different city, a bit more into the country, North Cyprus. So for that you would need to rent a car or come with the rental-car from Cyprus, South Cyprus here, which you can, but it's on you, it's your own responsibility. The rental companies don't recommend it, but you can do it. Or you can just rent a car from here. So with that in mind, you can do some exploring on your own. So 3 hours later, or maybe it was 4, I don't know, we got back by the same checkpoint. Actually, we used this checkpoint last night to go to eat in North Cyprus, and now we went to walk, explore and eat again, and then came back. It was super easy. So yeah, thank you for following the North Cyprus adventure. Got rainy again here in Nicosia. And I hope it inspired you to come and visit the last divided capital of the world. So if you want to come to a place where you can feel undecided about the food that you want to eat during the day, like if you want Greek or Cypriot moussaka, or then if you want the kebab, then you come here by the border. You can easily decide. The restaurants are just a few meters away from each other. So this is the place to come. Either way, I think it's very interesting. You have two very different cultures packed in the same capital. Okay, that's it for now. This is all from Cyprus. See you next time.